Alright, rapid fire cool tips. 3, 2, 1, let's fucking go. So last night I put together this map. So a spawning point for all the target monsters on this map with their weaknesses. Also, after you beat Kulve form 1, she will run away and she will be Kulve form 2 at the toppest part of the map. Also, thanks to the boys on Twitter, thank you MadDog101, he made a little optimal path. This is actually pretty useful, especially if you're doing it solo. I think if you're playing with a friend, you may want to split up, or you may want to follow this path, or your own path, whichever works. But, something else I also noticed, now that I'm able to see Kulve's health, it definitely does seem like when she switches forms, you have to break all her parts. You can literally have her HP down to literally a pixel, and she won't run away and shed her dress until you break all of her parts. That seems to be the way it works right now. So as you can see right here, I already have her health pretty much down. She's still taking like damage, but she hasn't actually run away yet, and that's because I have to break her remaining right leg. So it seems like after you do break all of her parts, after one hit, after she sheds off her gold, then she'll run away, which is interesting. I kind of like the way that works. Now, I'll be honest, I do think that this quest is slightly underwhelming a bit. I do feel like having like these other two monsters in this quest, the fact that you have to like hunt them kind of sucks. But yeah, that's a video for another day, right? But yeah, that's pretty much how that works for clarity. So another tip from the boys over on Twitter, and this one comes from Gary Adams. To anyone who needs some help with time, Deadly Horn Jab ++ with Inflict Rate Up ++ XL gives the Horn Jab a 30% chance to instant kill the Astalos and the Bracky. You can save a lot of time. Also, apparently it doesn't work if you lose a head-to-head, but it does work in head-to-heads. And I think double attacks too. So for those that aren't aware, Deadly Horn Jab is actually an innate skill or innate gene that comes from White Monoblos and only White Monoblos. So the best way, well the only way to get this is to farm White Monoblos. And then you want to upgrade this gene 2 times to give it more of a chance of activating the one-shot kill. And then Inflict Rate Up XL is a normal gene that's randomized on a handful of monsties. You can check your Monsterpedia, the great book of genes for this, to see which monsties potentially get this gene. I would say probably the easiest way to get a hold of this is to probably farm monsties like Nursilla, who primarily use status effects. So it'll probably be easier to find on a monstie like that. And then you're going to want to upgrade that gene as well. And you can put it on any monster you want. You can make anything a killing machine this way. And I might actually make a separate video on this strat in particular. Maybe. Now for the next tip, this is also really important. Even if you're playing actual co-op or with an NPC on this quest, bring Part Breaker. I wouldn't necessarily say it's mandatory, but if you want to speedrun this, bring Part Breaker. Now, there are a few ways to get Part Breaker. You can get it on a charm if you don't already have one. You definitely want Part Breaker XL. So, use a charm, or if you can't find a charm, or if you don't have one by this point, then I know the Oregon High Rank Armor does have Part Breaker XL. So you can also use that, along with some weapons to help you along the way for both of Kulve's weaknesses. You can always just swap out your weapons and whatnot, and coordinate with your co-op companion. Or even better, do it yourself when you have a, mindless NPC with you. So in my last video I mentioned that Kulve was straight up weak to thunder, but I was actually wrong about that. In her second form, she's actually weak to ice. So after using thunder weapons on her the first time, you're going to want to swap over to ice weapons to get the most damage on her. Also, get the Evasion Riff song on Hunting Horn. Now, you can do this by completing a side quest, which is fairly into the game, the main story. But by the time you're able to do Kulve, you should already be able to take on that quest. So make sure you take on this quest to unlock the evasion rift. It works for certain hunting horns, not all of them. It works for music type hunting horns, which are, I wouldn't say very far and few in between, but there's not a whole lot of them, and they're usually healing hunting horns as well. But I know the Valkana hunting horn definitely has that, and it's good to use on Kulve with the evasion rift, because when you're playing with a party, you're really going to want to use that, by the way, because she will OD, really OD with the AoEs. So the evasion rift gives the whole party one free evade. So if you have 2 people using a hunting horn like that, you could essentially completely dodge 2 AoEs for sure. And my last tip, break her horn. In her second form, make sure you go for that horn break, because that's a free knockdown and massive damage. Usually if you're playing alone with an NPC, if you time it right, breaking that horn is pretty much going to end the battle. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you found this helpful, consider subbing to the channel. We're going to have more content on this game because I love this goddamn game. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!